It's time for another new album review. The name of the band is called The Wizards, and the album is called The Exit Garden. So as always, I will be doing a little history of the band. I will talk about the album, the songs. I will give my final thoughts and score, so let's get into it. So if you've been watching my channel this weekend, I decided to pick bands that I didn't know very well, and basically I picked the first three bands that were listed in the Metal Archives websites for albums being released on March 22nd, 2024. And I think that's not a bad thing because it helps me cover some more underground acts as opposed to the bigger names that I usually do. So let's talk about this band. The band is called The Wizards. They're from Spain. They have been active since about 2013, and they are listed under a lot of genres according to the Metal Archives website. They are considered heavy metal, stoner, doom, and rock. They are on the High Roller Records label. The band has 4 full-length albums. The album is called The Exit Garden, so let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. The first song is called The Exit Garden, and my first impression was that it sounded like some type of classic rock band from the 70s. It had slow, clean guitars contrasting with some Hammond organ playing. This was only the first few seconds of the song because afterwards they went into a 1970s proto-metal type of sound. It took a while for the vocals to come into the song. The first verse started about 2.5 minutes into the song. They reminded me of the band Witch Hazel, which released an album last year. The band has a very retro 1970s type of sound. The production is very good so far. I can hear the guitar, the bass guitar, the keyboards very clearly. I can also hear elements of psychedelic rock in the last half of the song. It was called Full Moon in Scorpio. This one had a guitar riff in the intro that kind of reminded me of Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train, but not a complete copy of it. That was interesting because they followed this up with some guitar riffs that were very reminiscent of early Black Sabbath, so you can definitely hear the influence here. This song is called Oneros, and this one has a music video with a lot of psychedelic imagery and effects reminiscent of some of those old Black Sabbath or Alice Cooper music videos from the early 1970s. The song had a soft acoustic intro which lasted about a minute. The song sounded like a lot of traditional heavy metal, but with some dark and evil undertones. I think a good comparison would be some of the early albums by Ghost. I thought this was pretty cool. They mixed a lot of different genres. There was one part in the second half of the song where the drums completely stopped and they started to play heavy doom metal guitar riffs, and I thought that was pretty cool. The next one was called Holy Mountain Mind, and this one sounded like some progressive sludge metal. A band like Mastodon came to mind. I thought it was a pretty good song. They had some parts where they changed the tempos, going from fast to slow. I also liked the galloping rhythms of the guitar. Let me also mention that the guitar solos are very melodic, and they work well within the song. We're about halfway through the album, and this song is called Equinox of Fire. It brought back that 70s proto-metal type of sound. I can hear Black Sabbath influence in the song, especially in the guitar with both the style they're playing and the guitar tone. In the last part of the song, they go into double time when the drummer just goes wild on the drum kit and they speed up the song. I thought it was an interesting touch that they added. The song is called Questions, and the first 2.5 minutes of the song is soft folk music with acoustic guitars and clean singing. There are not any drums, and I thought the entire song was going to be like this, but it wasn't, because it kicked in with some heavy guitar riffs about like 2.5 minutes, and then the second part of the song reminded me of some classic heavy metal. It reminded me a lot of some earlier Judas Priest. The next song is called Crawling Nights, and this is the longest song on the album, which clocks in at 7 minutes and 11 seconds. The first half of the song sounded like a typical band from the 70s that would play classic rock, leaning towards hard rock. The song has a nice galloping rhythm. They use some elements of traditional heavy metal during the middle of the song and around the guitar solo part. But then they continued with some hard rock until the end, so I thought that was not too bad. The last song is called Dawn of Another Life, and this one is one of the shorter songs at a little over 4 minutes. This is a laid-back folk ballad. There are just acoustic guitars and keyboards and softer singing without any drums, and this closes the album. And now for my final thoughts. I thought this was a pretty good album. It didn't really fit into one specific genre. I would say there were elements of traditional heavy metal, hard rock, some doom metal. But I think the main focus of this band is to bring back that 1970s style of proto-heavy metal with some influence of the bands I have been mentioning throughout this review, including, we got some early Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and I'll even add like Blue Oyster Cult to the list. I heard a lot of that influence throughout this album. It has that early 70s type of sound, so I thought it was decent. Not the greatest album ever, but it's worthy of a 7 out of 10. So let me know in the comments if you've ever listened to this band before, or if you have listened to this album. Let me know what you think. Check out this review right here. Please like this video. Please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews. I do rankings. I do mostly album reviews. So I will see you in the next one.